Thought I'd leave it on for a few extra beats there. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Part of the Pride and Aston Villa Women podcast. We are very happy to be joined this evening by the lovely Connor Roberts. Connor, how you doing, mate?
Well, as I just said to you backstage, I thought I'd be coming on here, like gloating away, being like, yeah, another nice, easy win. This is going to be depressing from my side. But no, I'm happy to be on here. And yeah, I'm sure it'll be the gloating the other way maybe a little bit, but we'll see.
Well, we're happy to have you regardless. Yeah, because me and Emily came on the preview on All for United, didn't we? And we said, look, if Villa turn up, it's going to be tight. We're going to give you a good game. And that first half, you know what? Not too bad at all, but we will get into it. But of course, we can't do it by ourselves. Emma, how are you?
I'm all right, thanks. How are you?
Yes, yeah, not too bad, thank you. Emily, I love that you've got your ring light out and you're very... I love it. How are you?
Good. I'm still not convinced it's the right... I don't know what's happening, but we'll roll with it.
No, I love it. And Becky, making your pod debut. How do you feel?
Yeah.
You looking forward to it?
Finally able to get on and squeeze some time in, yeah. Although I am sitting directly under a spotlight, so I think
Really?
Emily, I'm winning on the poor lighting situation today. So
between us all, we've got some cracking lighting going on. I've got, just out of shot, I've got a LED strip light above a monitor behind my laptop. So that's kind of my background. So just let everyone know behind the scenes, that's very high tech over at Part of the Pride. Now, on our pod last week, we were quite optimistic. We said we were going to come back with like 10 million points. But in reality, a point we would have been quite happy with. And we got one. Guys, we got a point. Sorry, Connor. Now, we hoped head versus heart that we would get something. Lots of United fans, as we said, were thinking, oh, it's going to be Villa, easy 5-0, 6-0 win. And according to live scores as well, we haven't actually took a point off United since April 2022. So it's been a long time coming. Lots of losses in the process. So this was a proper clash, wasn't it? So Connor, unfortunately, if you kind of talk to us a little bit about it. So that first half, United just didn't really come out at all, did they? Kind of, what from your perspective, what was that first half like?
This might sound it's going to sound dramatic. No, I don't think it will be. I think that's the worst 45 minutes from the United women's side, aside from the 6-0 against Chelsea in the last game of the season. It is right. We were... Villa, I will give Villa a lot of props on it, I'm sure. But from a United point of view, that was easily one of the worst halves of football I've ever seen. Like, we couldn't keep hold of the ball properly. The press was all over the place. I don't know. I said this on the show that we did on Monday. I always try and watch United and think, right, even if it's not working, what are we trying to do? What's the actual attempt? I could not tell you what we were trying to do. And this is good. We're doing this a bit later in the week, so I've been able to have some conversations and things like that in terms of what the plan actually was now to try and dissect it a little bit better. I mean, I think Villa, by the sounds of it, threw United off guard a little bit. United, I think, expected Villa to set up a certain way. They didn't. That threw United a bit, so took a bit of time to adapt. But even still, I just think, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with United at the moment. Well, there is a big question, I think, around a certain person and a couple of the coaches potentially. But outside of that, it was just dreadful. But, props to Villa. I think if Villa were more clinical, would have been 2-3 down by half time. And it's exactly the same against Arsenal. It's United for the last couple of games now have done this where it's been such a slow start. And if only the other team was more clinical, we'd be out of the game by half time. So, yeah, it's not a new thing. So I think if you watch United this season, first half against Spurs, easily could have been 2 down in that one. Arsenal, Villa, West Ham, really, we weren't great against them on the opener either. So it's not a massive surprise, but it's just frustrating.
It's because you're a new team. That's what it is.
Still learning together, still growing.
Still growing, yeah. But no, we'll talk about those post-match comments in a moment. Because Connor, do you think as well there's a bit of complacency when it comes to Villa because people know and teams know we're not getting the results? So maybe was it a bit of Villa would be all right?
I don't think so. I think Martin is trying to implement this new style. He's been spoke about it all summer, and they've done it in every preseason game. Then they've tried it in the start of the season, and the players just aren't understanding it. And I think we saw that again against Villa. So I don't think it's necessarily complacency. I just genuinely think the players don't know where they're supposed to be at any given time because they're getting multiple instructions. In formation 3 or 4 times in that first half because, again, just couldn't adapt to what Villa were doing. I don't know. It's incredibly. It's so weird because you say the words unbeaten and you think the United fan base is happy. Genuinely, like it's probably the most downbeat fan base right now, which is really crazy to say because we haven't lost a game yet. But that's how it fits. Certainly after that game, that was a big. I'm sure we'll talk about it a bit later on. We'll talk about the second half or a bit of the atmosphere or something. But it really turned where I was. So. Yeah, I know what True's saying about a new style. I can't see it. It's because the players don't get it. That's purely it. And Mark's trying to force something. To be honest, here's a little thing for you. I don't think we'll be seeing that any longer. I think that was the last trial of that. And moving forwards, we won't see that. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what more to expect. This is
No, but it's strange though because kind of the parallels between Villa and United at the minute. You know, we saw last week against Liverpool, Villa play in that abominable formation in that first half. So Becky, I haven't had a chance to speak to you since. What were your thoughts going into this game versus United? Did you think a point was possible?
I think if you always look at on paper at Villa, anything is potentially possible. I think we have grown as a team over the last season and a half that we are a decent team on paper. After the Liverpool game, unfortunately, I was just so like, what we're going to set up as? What's our formation going to be? So going into the United game, I didn't think we had any chance of getting anything, I'll be honest with you, purely based on what are we setting up as. Soon as the squad was released and we saw that we'd gone back to a little bit more of a trusted defence.
More normality.
Yeah. Something that we'd actually worked on and sort of looked well under. I thought, yeah, okay, then we can actually give them a go. So it was really sort of like heart and head sort of scenario of what I actually thought was going to be going on. But yeah, relieved when I saw the lineup, I must admit.
Yeah, absolutely. Because again, after last time where we're like, oh, he's put all of the wingers on. All right, okay. That's not going to work. Emily, did you kind of feel the same? Kind of like back to normality. We can give this a good shot now. We kind of know.
Yeah, but when we were in the stadium and Ellie said, "Oh, the lineup's out," and I was like, "Let me see." I literally couldn't look at it quick enough. But yeah, when you see Jordan Nobbs and Lucy Staniforth both being started in the midfield, I was like, okay.
It's just a massive sigh of relief, isn't it?
Because I think Lucy Stan especially is just so key. Yeah.
100%. And Connor, we kind of said last time, Villa need to put their physical side out. We need to, match kind of United. Connor, were you happy with, or would you have started anyone different in that lineup? Because a lot later, did she?
No, it's the lineup I want, and this is what I think annoyed me certainly more. That bar one player, that's the exact lineup I've been calling for all season. Players in the right position. It's a natural back four. It's a natural right back. It's not Bizzett. Bizzett's on the right wing. We've got an actual left winger in Mallet. It's a proper striker. It's the midfield three. Tooney back in the middle. It's everything I wanted. Bar Jan, I still wouldn't be playing Janssen in the midfield. I'd be putting her at centre back where her actual position is, believe it or not.
She was playing quite far forward, wasn't she?
Yeah, and I think to me, she's just not a holding midfielder. I think it's easier when you're no offense to any centre backs watching this, but it's easier when you're a centre back because the whole game is in front of you, so you can read the game from the back. When you're playing in defensive midfield, you've got players behind you, in front of you, to the left, to the right, and you've got to, especially playing on your own, you've got to pick up all of them. So it was the team I wanted, and I think that's what frustrates me more. Now the change so late anyway. I don't quite know what they were watching that they were like, yeah, this is working. But no, lineup wise, I was really happy with it. It's what I've been wanting to see for a while.
Yeah, and you could tell kind of frustration on both sides as the game went on. Celine Bizet, especially, she was she was fuming at some points, wasn't she? That just again, no one was there to really attack those crosses in the box. Now we've spoken previously about the whole Gabby Nunez, Rachel Daly situation, how they're going to play together, and of course, Gabby had nearly had her moment, didn't she? Now we've praised Fallon Tullis-Joyce for being such an incredible goalkeeper. And if she wasn't so good, I think Jordan's shots would have gone in. But the one in particular we're going to talk about, Emma, I'm going to come to you for this one. Now, Tullis-Joyce, bit of an awkward back pass, kind of went a bit wrong. And Gabby was right there, wasn't she? Kind of, Emma, what were you feeling when that nearly went in?
Because of how, like, over the side of the goal it was, I didn't really see what was going on at first. So I was just like, I was so on edge. I was like, oh my God, what's going on? And then when we saw the replay, I was like, if I'm beautiful. Like, because it was early on in the game as well. Like, that would have just kicked us off. Like,
100%. Yeah, because it was Fallon even like trying to save it and like outstretching her leg, wasn't it? That it kind of just took a little deflection.
Yeah. Redeemed herself.
Redeemed herself, yeah, absolutely. Because Emily, we've been saying she's in the right positions, isn't she? But it just seems to be maybe lack of confidence still, do you think, when it comes to putting it away?
Yeah, I don't know. We saw one later on in the game as well where she tried to sort of back heel it in, but there was just no power on it. And
yeah, that was an interesting one.
I don't know if it is a confidence thing or if it's just I mean, not disrespecting the Spanish league, but maybe it's like
maybe that would work.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. In the WSL. But yeah, at that chance right at the start, it's got to have been confidence boosting. Even getting that chance, you know, the press is already working. Keep at it. But yeah, I was really impressed because it wasn't the only time we won the ball back. You know, from there, passing it around at the back within that sort of final third. It was a couple of times, and it led to chances again with like Kirsty Hansen putting balls back in and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, June's in there. She needs about 30 games to be able to adapt. Yeah, 30 games, about 5 seasons, and then maybe she can come off the bench.
I am on sort of thinking with a different sort of cap on. I wonder if we had have scored so early on, if we would have carried on with that high press, or if we'd have been like defend the lead and sat back, which I think would have been terrible and not worked. So I'm glad that we didn't do that, but I wonder if we would have had we had an early lead.
Yeah, because you see, and then it just for everyone watching in the stands, it just don't do that. But yeah, it felt like it was the first time Villa really were working as a team, weren't they? And they were more fluid, and they looked like they were actually communicating, and they knew what they were going to do. And I think, you know, Robert DePau kind of had a moment through that week to be like, right, okay, this isn't working. You can see how frustrated he's getting in his post matches, and everyone wanted those points, didn't they? So they came out attacking. So the rest of that first half then, as we said, Jordan had a couple of strikes, just either too far one way or fantastic saves as well. But going into, Becky, I'll ask you this one. Kind of going into halftime at 0-0, obviously we saw how United came back out after the break, but what do you reckon that feeling was in that Villa changing room to be like, right, okay, we're still in this?
I remember having a conversation about 40 minutes in, thinking, right, if we can hold it to 0-0, that's our confidence. And I think it'll be detrimental to Man United as well for not being able to either turn it around or get a sneaky goal in there. So for me, 0-0 was like the perfect scenario. I think for in your head going into the dressing room, like, yeah, we're still in this. We've got the upper hand. We've got all the confidence. Obviously, cherry on the top would have been a goal, but I think knowing that we was the better team in that first half, we had all the confidence, and I think that was just the perfect scenario for us. There's no way that they could have gone in that changing room with their heads down.
Isn't it nice that Villa was shown confidence? Quite like that. If only they can do that every week. But yeah, no, we've always said it as well. Like we always we play so much better against like the bigger teams, the bigger opponents, and it's just not losing that mentality when it comes to it. Now, so we came out, second half started. So I was driving back from Comic-Con in Liverpool, which we won't go into again, Connor, don't worry. And yeah, at halftime I pulled over at the services and I was like, right, like refreshing everything. And I was like, it says 0-0. Is that just my signal? Is anything happening? So quickly message the chat, like, right, give us a summary, give us what's happening. And again, to hear that quick feedback of actually, we've done quite well. It's been quite good. So Connor, when that second half started, kind of what were you hoping to see, and how did you feel that second half went ultimately? Because they came out with more attack, didn't they?
Yeah, it's interesting you were just talking there about Villa getting in at halftime 0-0. That's literally about 35, 40 minutes. I said to the people around me, we need to get in at 0-0 here. Like, and that sounds crazy with a home side playing against, at the time, bottom of the league. And I was like, we're literally hanging on here. Can we just get in at halftime level and then come out better in the second half? Now, Mark Skinner obviously spoke about this after the game. He said about, they were much better in the second half. I mean, I don't know what game he was watching, but I mean, for 4 minutes maybe after half time, Jade, I think, had a good chance on the right. I mean, statistically, yeah, we were better in the second half, but I mean, I don't remember your keeper. I mean, the one save, we had one shot on target in the whole game, and that was in the 72nd minute. So better in the second half is a bit of an overstretch, in my opinion.
It was a shot.
And I saw a couple of Villa fans after the game, and they were annoyed that you didn't win, and we were annoyed at what we'd just seen, because it was like, again, didn't lose, but no, I don't think we were that much better in the second half. Jace made a good impact off the right-hand side again. She did that against Arsenal. She was good when she came on. But again, there's teams I think have worked us out already, and that's a big worry for us because we're 6 games in, and it seems like if you double mark any of our players, which is what Villa seem to do. But the thing is, sorry, I'm gonna take about 90 seconds here. But if the annoyance for me comes if you double mark a player. So if there's 2 players on Clinton, for example, that means there's a space somewhere else because 2 Villa players have then vacated to go and double mark somebody else. What's frustrating me watching United is we don't then exploit that space so it's like, as I said in the first half, I don't know what we're trying to do. It seems like we try and invite teams onto us and then knock it long. And Turlin's not that kind of striker. We're trying to like make her run into the channel. Like, that's a complete waste of her ability. That's not what she's good for. So, yeah, it was frustrating. I don't think it was that much better in the second half. And to be fair, the chances Villa had towards the end, the Gabby George block, I don't even know what minute it was, like around the 90th or something. I genuinely thought I was going in. And I thought this is going to sum up what an awful day that has been up until that point. So, yeah, quote marks better in the second half, but I mean, that wasn't hard to do because the first half was so dire. I don't think it would have been harder to be worse, to be honest.
Were you surprised there was no subs at halftime, Connor? Yeah,
because as I said in the first piece, like, I don't know what I was watching Mark and I was going like, what are they looking at? And going, yeah, this is spot on here. This is what we want to be doing. This is working. And it's like, I know we had about 10 minutes added on, so they ultimately had about 10, 15 minutes at the end of the game. But I think the first subs, I don't know when they were 70 something, then Williams and Awujo come on in the 78th, and I'm just like, I don't know what they were watching, and it's default again. It's Williams is coming on at some point to try and rescue the game, and again she did all right, but it's far too late at that point to try and make any kind of impact. And Villa were clever then because there was a lot of little cheap fouls and going down and wasting a bit more time. And to be fair, United would have done that if it was the other way around. So I can't complain too much about it. So yeah, it was just frustrated all round because it's like we're so much better than that. But I think you do have to give props to it because I actually thought Villa would come out in the second half and sit deeper, and you didn't. I think Villa knew there's a chance here to get a win. United aren't at the best. Let's go for them a little bit. That obviously seemed to work because we just didn't adapt in the 100 odd minutes that were played in the end.
Yeah, because it was strange, wasn't it? Because I was looking at the formations, and I mean, Google kind of guesses sometimes, doesn't it? But said United came out in a 4-4-1-1, which is a good formation. But the cameras picked up. I don't know if when you watched it back, Skinner shouting within the first minute, like 4-2-3-1, change it, go. This isn't how we expected them to play. And then a bit later on, it kind of went more to match Villa, like you said, wasn't like more of a 4-3-3. And yeah, it was. I mean, there were some cracking battles down the wings. I mean, we had. I've got so many notes. Where are they? So we had George and Adrian Leon and Mannion, and Chastity Grant and George as well. Gabby George though, Connor, like that's got to be a breath of fresh air having her back, right?
Yeah, she's had a good season, to be fair. She's been solid in a team that is struggling. I mean, the back line are looking good at the moment because we're just not conceding. Like, defensively as a team, we're doing well. We're just not... I mean, well, to be fair, no. Let me scratch that. No, Fallon's bailing us out. And the back line are doing okay in games. So, yeah, she's been brilliant. She was a good player, obviously, pre-ACL as well. I know she's had a couple of ACL injuries now. She's always been a good player. It's just that reliability with her. Yes. So I hope she can have a fully fit season. I mean, she got our player of the match when we did our show on Monday as well. So I think that shows how much United fans thought of her performance. But yeah, she was solid. And Fallon made that clear in a post-match interview as well. She almost grabbed the mic off the interview and went, and props to Gabby George. Yeah, I think that was massively appreciated from all the players, I think.
Yeah, 100%. No, she did so well. Emily, because we were talking about Robert DePauw and him choosing to start Chastity over Dree. But he started Hansen and Grant and then swapped them both in the 80th minute again for Dree and Katie Robinson as well. How did you feel about that one, Emily?
I just quickly on the point you were making about the battles on the wings. I did think when a couple of times when they were both on the pitch, Chastity and Kirsty switched wings. I thought that coincided with a little bit of us losing momentum and Man United coming back into it. Because I think they both each had a really good read on the fullbacks they were attacking. And then when they switched, it sort of took the foot off the gas a little bit. But
switching it up quite good. But actually,
but seeing as we were sort of on top, I don't think they necessarily needed to do that.
Yeah.
But I don't think Katie Robinson had one of her strongest games.
She looked a bit lost, didn't she?
There were a couple. I think she just wasn't quite up to the pace of how Villa were playing when she came on. There were a couple of passes that were just overhit, or she didn't get on too quick enough, and things like that. She did have that really excellent chance right near the end where you just thought, nearly went in.
Well,
but I don't know if presumably Robert DePauw thinks that Leon is more adept at playing either side than Robinson. So obviously Leon's sort of natural starting position would be on the right wing. But he seems to like playing on the left wing and playing Katie Robinson up the right, which I don't know. I would, again, it's about playing. I think it's about playing your players in their strongest positions. But yeah.
Yeah, because on the back of that, we also had Kenza still not starting, and it was Gabby Nunes who came off, and she replaced her, and they had a bit of a shuffle. So, yeah, Emily, why?
I don't know. I was actually quite pleased to see that it was Nunes who came off rather than either Nobbs or Staniforth at that point, because before he's left both. I think like last game he left both Gabby and Rach on for the whole game. Which again, if Kenza's on the pitch, I want to see her playing at number 10. Like that's where she needs to be playing.
Especially makes magic, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm really probably get onto it later, but I'm really curious to see how much of this lineup is going to start on Sunday. Well, I have a really bad feeling it's not going to be much of it.
Well, at the minute, it's like roll the dice and see who comes out. Like, there can be a wing back today. Lovely. And speaking of wing backs who didn't practice being a wing back, Sophie says Katie Robinson seemed a little bit off it, a bit out of character compared to what we've seen so far. Yeah, good. And Gary in the chat as well saying, late subs doing too little too late has largely been the Villa tactic. Don't know what you mean. 81 minutes. We know exactly what's going to happen, Gary. With that. And again, as Truth said there, I think Villa are unlucky not to win yet. Yeah. That's been consistent as well throughout kind of other players and managers kind of saying Villa's performances aren't where they are in the table, which is a compliment. However, it's not helpful.
There was a graph that Sam put up this afternoon, which was sort of comparing overall number of touches per 90 and then touches in the final third. And Villa were sort of fourth best in terms of touches in the final third and only behind the top three. And, well, Brighton are in the top three, you know what I mean? In terms of overall touches. So possession and being in the right place on the pitch aren't our problem.
Can I start quoting Sonia with efficiency?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, I think we just need a couple of weeks for Sonia, to be honest. I think we sort us out. To be fair, I definitely think she would. So perfect. But of course, Lucy Parker. We haven't had any updates, have we? How she is? But Emily, did she say she was limping, but not on?
Yeah, I was just devastated for her, man, because you could see when she went down, it just immediately you could tell that was not good. It wasn't just I'm going down and I want a foul sort of thing. I've been tapped, I'm gonna make the most of it. It was that one hurt. Yeah, and her parents and partner were in the stands as well, which was just really unfortunate. But afterwards she didn't have a boot or crutches or anything, but she was noticeably limping when they came out by the coach.
Oh, bless her. Yeah, and it just seems like she gets a good run and then something happens. So it wasn't an England camp this time.
Yeah, I think it was the same ankle that she did have the surgery on. So.
Oh, no, not just the same one. We just, we've been doing fairly well for Villa with injuries so far. So if we could just keep going a bit longer.
I'm hoping that we've got a good enough medical team that they wouldn't have even let her come back on, to try and come back on.
Yeah.
And I know her mum did say that she was going to try and be more cautious after this, like coming back and playing after the surgery, so as not to come back too soon and make things worse. So maybe it was just precautionary, I don't know.
Oh, very sensible of her. Yeah, good. And we approve. We'll wrap her in cotton wool, and we'll just keep her safe, won't we, for that one? And of course, we had 10 minutes of added time at the end, and I think as soon as that board goes up, either it's like right, okay, we've got time to get one back, or it's oh god, how are we going to get through these 10 minutes? Connor, what was your reaction to those extra minutes going up at the end?
I mean, it was expected because, as I said, there was a lot of players going down. We were adding it up like this is going to be. We said between 10 and 13, so we were about right in our heads. But I mean, as soon as 10 goes up, obviously, I think Emily, you were there. Like you hear the United fans, everyone gets up. It's like, right, come on, let's give some in here. Like we've got 10 minutes now to try and score, and we just didn't. So I was happy with 10 because I thought we'd kick on and do something. If anything, I was like, I'll just blow the whistle now. Like, I want to get home.
Happy with the draw.
I did, because I somehow paid no attention to the United subs that were made at the time. And when I think it was in extra time and United had a corner or something, and I sort of turned and was like, is Rachel Williams on the pitch? I was just so worried that she was going to, or, because it's happened so many times where they've just scored that header at the last minute and it just makes your heart sink. But we defended really well.
Oh, I don't remember us having a chance in the. No, did we have what? I can't. Maybe I'm confusing the Arsenal game with the Villa one. They're both merged together in my mind, to be honest. We had that free kick towards the end where Bizet, I don't even know what she was trying to do, trying to beat the first player on the ground. Like it was such a weird free kick. I don't know what was going on there.
Yeah.
But I don't remember us having another chance in added time. Really, like we had possession, but I mean. That's no use if you can't get a shot away. It's pretty pointless. So, I it filled me with hope when the 10 went up, but it quickly went because as I said, Villa was still getting chances and still cutting us open a bit. The one thing I will say with the added time, I don't know where the added time on added time came from, because it they put 10 up, but then all of a sudden we were playing to about 103. So I don't quite know where those 3 minutes came from. It just felt like the ref wanted a goal so badly, so we're going to play on until
somebody's going to score.
But then stopped it just as United were potentially going to do something. And it's like, come on, you could have. Oh, but
it's like she suddenly remembered to look at her watch and was like, "Oh,
yeah,
I blew the whistle."
Oh, I'm not a fan. I'm meant to be right. Okay, yeah, right. We'll call it then. We'll call it a day. Yeah, because Connor, you briefly mentioned about kind of the atmosphere changing in that second half as well. Do you want to kind of talk a bit about the feeling in the United camp, kind of right now, and the noise that's growing? Because it's
yeah. I mean, I wrote a piece on this the other day, and I didn't know whether I was going to publish it or not because, again, I don't like being super negative, but at the moment that is genuinely what the fan base. Sunday was the first time. There's always been a vocal group of fans that are anti-Skinner and Skinner out regardless, whatever. But Sunday was the first time I'd felt the whole ground shifted. You know, people around me, people to the right of me in West Stand as well. Like everywhere I went, or people I spoke to after the game, even someone like Mark's like kind of really hardened supporters were like, no, I think that's that now. So that was the first time for me it fully changed. And it was just so toxic, to be honest, in there. Like, I mean, toxic's the wrong word, but it was very...
Like, you could feel it.
Yeah, you could feel the negativity. Like, even there was, like, young kids around me that were shouting, when Mark was walking around, that was shouting stuff at Mark when he was walking past. Like, it got really thingy when the coaches were coming around. So, I don't know. It's just really... I think fans were a bit tired at the back end of last season. Obviously, we won the FA Cup. It was great. But then the 6-0 at home to Chelsea kind of... It didn't help. Mark's contract got announced the day before that. So it kind of got fans riled up a bit. And then obviously we do 6-0. We go into the summer. Fans were kind of like, right, we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. And we started this season unbeaten, but pretty poor. So it wasn't going to take much for fans to lose their patience. And I think that patience is gone. Or like already. Like, if we don't win on Sunday, I dread to think what that away section of United fans is going to be like, because as I say, it's already over the edge. So my personal thing, that was the last straw for me. I think on Sunday I had so many straws last season, when the Etihad game, the game at the Emirates, the Chelsea 6-0, like I lost so many straws last season, but Sunday was just another, like, I don't know. And the comments afterwards
Do you reckon you go.
I was going to say, was it you, Connor, who picked up on they had some sort of coaches huddle after?
So it's the first time it must have happened before. I'm sure it would have done, but that's the first time I've ever seen it. And I've been following this team for years, home and away, and that's the first time I've ever seen the coaches get together at the end of a game while the players are walking around. And that's why, again, like I said, I wrote about 3 things in my piece. Was 1, the atmosphere turning. 2 was how quick LSV emptied. You might have seen this. Like, usually fans will stand. I know you're not allowed to at LSV anymore, but fans will still stay to clap the team off. LSV was basically empty at most corners of the ground by the time the players got around. So that as well, but also this coaches huddle, because I've just never seen that before. And I don't know why, because they did the main huddle. The players walked off, and then Mark got all the coaches together. And I don't know, obviously I can't hear what they're being said, but I just found it bizarre because I've never seen that before. Like I would have hoped that was an admission of them saying they got something wrong, but then Mark's interview post-match just... I mean, I'll reserve comment, but it wasn't that, clearly, because all the blame was put on the players again, which is what it is.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we've been saying as well about Robert DePau, because there's still a bit of uncertainty kind of in our fan base. Like, it's very divided, it's very split. Some were calling for his head after a couple of games, which far too far in my opinion, but it seems, again, there's no pretty much outright taking responsibility. It's very much on the players, it's their performance and that kind of thing. Emma, kind of when it got to 0-0 and the final whistle went, kind of what was your feelings going through there? Was happy?
Yeah, but like it was a massive relief because although I really wanted us to get like something from the game, my heart was telling me no. My head was telling me like. So, like, I was at a rehearsal when the game was happening. So I had the commentary was so like in those final like on Ed, everything was happening, and I was like, oh my god, I can't even see it. I can't watch it. I'm literally having to listen to it. Okay, at least we didn't lose it in the last like 30 seconds like we usually do. So I was pretty relieved
that would have been good.
Because after the performance, like the bit live, I have watched it back obviously now, but the bits I saw live were really, really good. So I was like, we can't lose this because it'll be literally so gutting. Like, yeah, so I was just so relieved that we got the point and managed to hold on to something, even we really secretly wanted.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, again, we're at the point now where it's just a must not lose. Like, all of these points add up. And Emily, you were saying something as well. You kind of totted up the scores, didn't you? If we kind of win home and away with the teams around us, what were you saying again?
Yeah, if we so the teams, if you look on paper, the teams that we would most expect to beat, so Everton, West Ham, Crystal Palace, although they are playing well, if we beat them home and away and beat our other game and win our other game against Leicester, and even if we lose everything else, we'll end up on the same points as last year.
Yeah, and that,
although obviously the whole league could be more spread. You know, top teams could have loads and the bottom could have less, but we'd be on a par with last year then.
Yeah, City and Chelsea are already nearly on 20 points already, aren't they? With 7/6 games already played. So if we kind of touch on post-match then, because it was like night and day between DePauw and Skinner. So with Robert DePauw, Becky, I'll come to you for this one. He talked about how frustrated he is and how he's never had to go this long without a win, and that the players need to reward themselves with points because he's getting sick of putting the performance in but not winning. So what's kind of your feelings? Because already, as we've mentioned, a lot of the fans are starting to jump ship, whether that's too premature or not. But yeah, it's every single point. Do you reckon this point will have changed anything? Or yeah, what can you think about it?
I think it's a difficult one because he does come in with I think Gary's touched on it in the comments. He does come in with an air of arrogance that almost wants you to not agree with him. And it's really difficult to sort of take at face value of the players aren't doing well. I'm sick of losing. It is very much putting it on the players. But then realistically, when we look at formations that are put out, or let's play a full team of wingers, like realistically, can you blame the players then? You know, and it just doesn't make sense that the performances on the pitch do not match his comments at all. And it's a difficult one to listen to him. For me personally, I switch off now when he's there.
Which in itself isn't the best for a manager, is it?
No, not at all. I'm happy. I'm happy that we're playing better. Yes, absolutely. Do we represent that on the table? No, absolutely not. Can you blame all the players? No. Sorry, you can't. I know that they're the ones on the pitch, and this is always a massive debate over, whether managers should be responsible or not. But when you come in and you change the tactics so severely, yeah, you can blame the back room.
Yeah, because we shouldn't compare him to Carla Ward, but we kind of said, with Carla, if the formation was her fault, she was like, yeah, that was me. Sorry. Like, we'll do better next time. We'll go in, we'll work on it. We'll do this, we'll do that. So again, is that more of a cultural difference? Is it more of just a kind of how they respond to it? Do they speak more kind of off pitch, away from the cameras, and do it with the team? But you'd hope so. But yeah, kind of
out from one extreme to the other though. Carla took responsibility for everything, and Robert takes responsibility for nothing. And I think probably that's where it falls with the fans. It's so drastic for the last few seasons, what we've been used to. Whether they agree with what Every says or not, it's so drastic to what we've previously been listening to. So I don't think that helps either.
No, it'll take time to adjust, won't it? And again, like we said, we've only played 7 matches.
We're a new team. We're still settling.
Speaking of a new team, Connor, what does he mean by you're a new team? Do you know? Does anyone know?
Oh dear.
Sorry.
I'll try and keep this brief. Do you know what? I think if the performance wasn't bad enough and the result and everything else, like the thing that I think riled fans up more was what he said afterwards. And that's not the first time he's done that. When after the Chelsea game where he was talking about intelligent fans and stuff like that, like he has a way with words, and I think he should just be kept away from press conferences, in my opinion. just get one of the assistants to do it, because he just digs himself a hole and then makes it worse. Because all summer he was talking about we're going to be the same but different. Now all of a sudden we're a new team. Last season he was talking about we're never going to sacrifice results over performances. This season we're playing poor, but all he's going on about is being unbeaten. So like, which one is it? Like it changes every single week. So I think that's what wound fans up more, was his post-match comments. Being a new team, I mean, I nearly swore them. Every team in the league has new players every single summer. That's nothing different. You know, I mean, and it's not like he's just been handed a load of kids and just be like, yeah, make that work. Like, he's been handed brilliant players, and the players I believe he wanted.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's new players, but it's the players you wanted in a team that is strong. It just doesn't make any sense to me what he's referring to. And don't get me wrong, there's new players in there that will need time to adapt, but part of that adaptation is because you're playing them in the wrong position. Like, you're playing a centre-back in defensive midfield where she's only played there for one season, and that was like 8 years ago. So that's one problem. Then you're playing Bizet, you buy her as a right winger, albeit she did play right wing against Villa. You stick her at right back for a few games. Like, I don't know. He's just creating problems for himself, and I think ultimately that will be his downfall, because I think I think he already has lost the fans, to be honest, but he will lose more and more fans by just constantly. I think Barry put it perfectly on Monday. Fans will accept many things, and will forgive poor performances and forgive this, but will never forgive is insulting fans' intelligence and trying to belittle what fans are saying and things like that. And that's how it comes across to a lot of people. And as I said, ultimately, I think that will just be his downfall.
Yeah, no, 100%. And again, from us kind of looking in, we're getting frustrated with his comments kind of on your behalf, because that's not what you want to hear, is it, from your manager? And do you reckon if he did come out next week by some stroke of luck and was like, look, we're going to be honest, I'm going to, talk like properly. Do you reckon that would actually change that relationship?
No, I think it's
not going to happen.
It's too far gone for a lot of people now. I think, even if we went on a crazy winning run and beat Chelsea in a few weeks, I just don't see how he changes that, because again, like you talk about what Robert Powell was saying, like Mark's one of his first things in his post-match was to say, the player, but essentially saying the players got it right. I can't remember the exact quote, but it was something along the lines of, the players had a discussion at halftime, they got it wrong. And it's like, what? Like, even if that's true, you don't say that. Certainly not in public. Wait until you're back at training and deal with that, at training if you really have to. But it's the constant public. It's them. It's not me. We're not doing anything wrong. They're the ones that are getting it wrong. And like I said, even if that's true, you just don't come out and say that. Back, because the players will watch that and be like, well, really? Like, what you on about? So it's incredibly frustrating, because he has a way with words. And as I said, like even last season, you lose 6-0 to Chelsea, and he goes, yes, we're sorry to the fans, but, and then goes on a big rant about intelligent fans know where we are and everything. That it's like, just leave it there. Just keep it short.
Just say sorry. It's okay. You could leave it there. You can move on. He's a special one, that Skinner, isn't he? Last question I'll ask you about him. Do you think he'll actually make it to the end of his contract, or do you think the club will step in sooner if things don't change?
If there's any viewers from Wolf United watching this, they'll know. Obviously, with I'm really trying to find a way of answering this. I've been asking all week, essentially, in terms of what the club's position really would mark. I think the only thing I can say at the moment, I think he's very good at talking his way out of things. You know, he could rightly go to the board right now and be like, look, we're unbeaten. You know, what are you sacking me for? We've not lost a game yet. Yeah. However, I think they'll look at the disconnect between the fans and the fact that there's going to be more empty seats than ever before, the fact that there's booing in the stadium every week. You know, these games are on TV. We've got Liverpool on Sky Sports after the break. Chelsea's on TV. I think they'll look at these things. And if we start losing, if we get battered by Chelsea, I think that'll be that, to be honest. So I think he's essentially got 3 big games now. We beat Leicester, we beat Everton in the Conti Cup. League Cup. I think we win those 2, then they're expected to win. But it's on that Chelsea one. I think if we lose Chelsea narrowly, I think he carries on until Christmas and beyond. If we get beat by Chelsea heavy again, I think he's in big trouble because then we've got the international break. And the club are well aware of the fan mood right now. And I think that does get taken into account. So do I see him make it to the end? On this current path, no. Because I just don't see... I mean, to be honest, I don't even know if we beat Leicester on Sunday, to be honest. That's how low the mood is in the fan base. I'm looking at Leicester going, yeah, they're not great, you know, and everything else. I don't even know if we're going to beat them, let alone Chelsea. So, I don't know.
I mean, truth said there, you know, 10-0 Chelsea should finish them off.
What I will say, if we play like how we did against you and Arsenal, we're going to get destroyed by Chelsea. We cannot be giving Chelsea 20-odd shots on goal. Fallon's a good keeper, but she's not keeping that many out. So, yeah, I don't see... I don't know. Maybe we'll see the end of the contract because the club might look at it and go, okay, well, we'll look for a replacement in the meantime, and he can just see out the contract then because he's out of contract at the end of this year anyway. That might be what they do, but I just don't see it. I just think the fan discontent is getting louder and louder, and that takes an impact. You know, our attendance has already gone down this season from last year. If fans stop turning up because the football is dire and there's just a big mood around the fan base, the club aren't going to want that, and it's bad optics. You know, that's why I mentioned them being on TV, because if it's on TV and all you're hearing is booing and fans annoyed all the time, it doesn't look great for the club. So I think that gets taken into account as well. No,
that's true. You could pass it off as everyone just shouting tune. It could.
I've just seen that comment as well. But do you know what? I don't like that tune. I'm going to call it a noise because it does sound like booing.
Yeah, it does. And the amount of comments of people going, why are they booing? Nothing's happening. It's like, no, it's for tuning. It's for tuning.
Don't start me on that one.
No. You just think of all the imaginative chants in the world. Why is it just that one? Why has it got to be that? Should make a new one, Connor. That'd be a good one.
Well, we had a couple of good tunes. I mean, it's come from the Lionesses, isn't it? I believe that tune, obviously I don't follow the Lionesses, so I'm not fully aware. That's what I've been told anyway. It's come from that.
It's from that lot, yeah. Bringing it into our club football. Yeah, no, totally get it. Because looking at, again, sorry, Connor, some stats, Villa surprisingly, and again, I think at just this point, we're just really shocked and surprised that we've got numbers and it's actually happening. So Villa had 10 shots, 4 on target, 2 off compared to United's 5 shots, 1 on, 4 off. And like Connor said, that wasn't until 72nd minute. And you just think, again, for United, you know, we would have expected kind of a lot more intensity from them, which kind of shows everything that we've been talking about, doesn't it? So as we said, it was a massive, massive point for Villa. And of course, points are helping United as well stay where they are. However, if we look at the table, Villa is still in 11th place, joint on points with Everton, who are in the relegation spot on 3 points. And it's just like, oh God, we're still on 3 points. There's a tiny little jump because, of course, West Ham got the win out of nowhere. They've jumped up to 9th. So again, it just shows you one win. I think we were saying the other day, weren't we? One win can just completely change that table. Not as easy as a championship. I don't know if anyone's seen the championship table recently, but That's an insanely tight margin of points. It's mad. So we've got Everton and Villa on 3 points. We've got West Ham and Crystal Palace and Leicester all on 5. So again, we could leapfrog them if we win this weekend. Spurs on 7, Liverpool on 9, United and Arsenal on 12. Then we've got Brighton on 13. So even though they lost, they've still got that 3rd place. Then, of course, there's a jump again for Chelsea on 18 and City on 19, which is just mad. Absolutely mad. Connor, how do you feel as well? I don't know if I got a chance to ask you the other day. Skinner said something about you're above your benchmark of where you should be. I know I said I wouldn't ask any more questions, but that baffled me. But, 5th is, with United, you want to be pushing for those top 4 at least, don't you? So that kind of worries me. What's their benchmark? Is that worrying for a United fan in general?
I think you've got a bunch of Skinner quotes, haven't you, off camera there? Just written off his Look, I mean, I know, obviously, as every club does, they set a target at the start of the season. Right now, we're below it. I know that. So his comments, I think, are just deflection away from whatever the question was that he was asked, because I know for a fact he's below the target that the club has set right now. So
okay.
I think when you look at it like that, and again, it just conflicts what he's just said about after the Villa game about, unbeaten and everything else. Well, you go back a week and he's talking about we're above the benchmark. So again, which one is it? Are we a new team developing, or are we above the where? I don't know.
Yeah, keep that consistency. Yeah. Go on.
But yeah. Well, I was flip it from a Villa point of view, to be fair, in terms of I don't know whether we asked you to this when you're on the show, but obviously Villa are 11th currently, but what is Villa's aim in terms of from a league point of view? Because you are technically a new transitioning team, new manager, a couple of new players in there as well, so you're more of a new team than we are from that point of view. But you have done, like you mentioned earlier, Villa have played well in big get Chelsea on the first game of the season. It's there. It's just you're not winning anything. Yeah, but I think you will this weekend. But it's just getting those wins.
Hey, who knows? Who knows in this league? But no, you're right. I think Robert said, I believe he said 7th.
I think
would
so.
Be kind of the aim. Just again, new team, new manager, embed and everything. So kind of 7th. Obviously, 5th being our highest. Anything around 7th and above would be great. But yeah, it'll only happen if we pick those points up, won't it? But yeah, he's been he hasn't gone too high in his estimations. He hasn't gone, yeah, we're going to win. But yeah, no, you said a good 7th. And I think, to be fair, if we, like we keep saying, if we're more clinical, we can actually get up there. We can start winning. We can start getting those points and nicking them off people. But it's if it happens. Because
I was going to say, I was really pleased, I think, in that game on Sunday, because usually we're saying we're making all that progress forward and then not doing anything with the final ball. And I know we didn't score this weekend, but we had some clear-cut chances, whereas before we've there hasn't been anything obvious. We haven't made the keepers make amazing saves and stuff. And I think we had, in the first half, probably at least 4 or 5 clear-cut. So I think this time I was pleased that we were actually creating chances, and that now it's just a case of finishing them off, rather than before, we'd just be aimlessly crossing balls into the box and things like that. Even the corners that we took, I think we had 7 corners again, and we actually managed to, make the defenders do something, rather than just, it's a short corner, it hasn't gone anywhere, oh, it's cleared, and we're back to square one.
Well, we actually had some set piece takers on, didn't we? On the pitch this time. Instead of, hey, who fancies it? Let's get it. Because even touches in the opponent's box, Villa had 27. So they're getting there. They're doing something with it. They're just not getting it where they need to be. So yeah, it's frustrating, but again, if we're talking about the bigger picture, we can see what they're trying to do, and hopefully, again, it's time that unfortunately we don't have. I was just laughing previously because I was editing last week's podcast, and Emily, I got to the bit where you said, that's great, he can have time, But if he doesn't do it, then he's just going to be embedding it still in the Championship. Now, I did wonder if this was Nick, but as soon as set piece takers woo came up in the chat,
Yep.
I'm thinking it is. Hi, Nick. So yeah, we love a set piece taker, don't we? But yeah, I mean, as a separate point, Kenza Darley needs to start games. Yeah, she does. Right, so we've talked about.
I think just on that point about even not just the set piece stuff, but having players like Lucy Staniforth and Sarah Mailing on the pitch playing those balls in play, like they have that ability to pick out those passes. Whereas, you know, I know it's a different style of play, but I think that's what we need. Sarah Mailing was excellent again.
She's right. Back phenomenal, hasn't she? Because we said she kind of fell out of favour a little bit, and then she's kind of proved why she should be in that start 11 again.
Yeah. I also shout out Dan Turner, who obviously started at left back and then had to move across when Lucy Parker went off, which is, I mean, centre back's her preferred position anyway, but I think she did an excellent job.
She did, yeah. Well, we've got some good little underrated players, don't we? Dan Turner, what a player. Were we happy to see Paola Tomas come back as well? We've missed her. I've missed her.
It was, she played really well. I think I saw, I can't remember what the stat was, but she had the highest of something, maybe take-ons or something like that of the whole thing, and she was only on the pitch for like half an hour.
I was going to say she wasn't on that long, was she? But yeah, I mean, she proper goes for it, doesn't she? We absolutely love her. So yeah, it was great to see.
Also, on the Paola Tomas front, I thought it was really good that it didn't look like the penalties and red card and stuff had knocked her confidence. It was really good to see her come back and still have that same sort of drive that she had before.
Yeah, absolutely. Sophie's just put in there as well. Believe Sarah Miller have a competition out of right backs really improved a game. Yeah. Do we think she's going to keep Maritz out? Do we think that's going to be quite a battle, or do you think, I don't know, Becky? I could see some eyebrows there.
It's that magic question: is who's he going to play? I'm going to keep on about it. I really am. I'm sorry, but I think she deserves to keep her place. Absolutely. Will we go back to 3 at the back? Who knows? I think she deserves to be there, definitely. We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see whatever roll of the dice Robert takes next. I do have to agree with Nick, though. Did we all see the video they released of Paola today with those English phrases?
Yes.
He is the happiest, loveliest person in the world. You just think, you got a red card? Really? But yeah, she's absolutely loving life. Really harsh to make the Spaniard do the English idioms. Like, but yeah, oh bless her. Sure. I mean, she had some cracking answers, some better than the originals. That has to be said. So I think that was all of the main points I had. Connor, was there anything else that stood out for you that you wanted to chat about, or do you just want to forget it like it was all about Dream?
Yeah, 2 words. Hayley Ladd.
Where is she?
I was wondering, you hadn't mentioned her yet.
I'm getting more frustrated by the week. It's not even the fact she's not starting, because she's not even like getting a minute. I'll take a minute at this point. That game was crying out for someone like her, because, as Barry eloquently put on Monday night, we made Jordan Nobbs look like Bon Matty in the midfield. Like, we could have done with somebody in there who's with a bit more agility to her than Jansen's got, just to break up the play a little bit more and a bit more. That game was suited so much for her in the middle to link our back line and the forwards a lot better. But again, for whatever reason, I mean, she's like 5th choice now, because Awujo always comes on ahead of her. I mean, Miyazawa didn't touch the pitch either, which was just mental. Yeah. Narson's now ahead of her. And obviously Jansen, who's a centre-back, is also ahead of her in a position. So you've got like 4, she's 4th or 5th in the order now, which is mental. And Mark was asked about Hayley a couple of weeks ago. And his answer was about building for the future and everything else, which would make sense if you're playing the the younger player in Simi Awuja, but he's not. He's playing Janssen, who's only a year and a half younger than Lad. So that's not planning for the future. That's just an excuse in public. So, to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if she goes in January, because I've just seen Sophie's put in the chat.
I was just about to say, do you reckon she'll go in January?
Yeah, I think so. If not January, she's out of contract next summer anyway. So I just think she'll go at the end of that contract, because, and this isn't new. We've seen this with Aldebarisa in the past, with Guerrero and all these other kind of players. If you fall out of Mark's trust for whatever reason, you don't even get pity minutes. You just get completely omitted from any WSL minutes. And it's sad, because for me, she's still one of our best midfielders. yeah. And she was a big part of our best ever league season in 22-23. And now can't even... I would love to sit down with Mark. I mean, he probably won't after Monday's show if you watch that, but I would love to sit down with him and ask him, like, what is the reason? Because I'd love to know. Like, none of this PR press answer that he gives. Like, what is your reason? Because there must be one. It can't be, planning for the future. Because as I said, you're playing a player that's the same age, pretty much. So,
yeah. And then surely if you're planning for the future as well, you rotate and you learn off each other and you work to get it doesn't wash, does it? And as Truth rightly said, lad in, Skinner out.
that was the other thing actually that Mark said. Oh, sorry, I'm ranting now. This was the other thing that Mark said about Hayley Ladd on when he got asked about her, that Hayley's doing her coaching badges, so she understands the coaching side of the game as well as the playing side. Well, again, that to me just seems like a media answer just to deflect away from what the actual reason is for not playing her, because if she understands the coaching side of it as well, she wouldn't be having the Wales boss in her ear being like, yeah, you need to play her, like, and everything else, because listening to people that watch Wales week in, week out, she's not been the same player for Wales because she's not playing. She's not got the fitness and the match minutes to perform for Wales like she has done. So, yeah, to be honest, I actually said this during the game that I can see Ladd ending up at Villa, to be honest, because it's
we just keep collecting everyone else on out of favour. So send her over. We'll give her some minutes. We'll look after her.
It is the kind of player I can see a Villa or a Brighton or somebody like that picking up and her doing really well for.
Yeah. And again, a player like that needs to be playing. She needs minutes. She needs to be out there. And you're right. If there's not even any league minutes or anything like League Cup, because we don't have a sponsor yet, do we? If there's no cup minutes, then it's just it's not worth it, is it? You're wasting your career essentially on a bench with no promise of
I was gonna say what Truth just put in the comments about maybe it's the fact that she's going down that coaching avenue. He's not liking it.
She's got better ideas.
Yeah.
Possibly. I'd love to be a fly on the wall. I really would. Because who knows what's happening there. But yeah, is anyone from the Villa side? Is there anything that we haven't mentioned? I think we talked about key bits.
Yeah, I thought Nick said.
Emily, you've always got about another 5 things.
I have, yeah. Nick said on the Sarah mailing Noelle Moritz not that long ago, she said that
this one.
I like that. I agree. I think it's good that we've got both options that are suited, can adapt the play. Because Moritz had those games that she was starting. Obviously, we did have high possession stats, and she was working really well with Jordan and Lucy at the back and building the play up from there. But again, like Sarah Mailing with the passes she can pick out, it just gives you options. Which I think it's like Becky said. I think it's helping Sarah grow having that competition.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, because again, when we were saying, she kind of went into a bit of a lull. Again, there was no one pushing her. She knew she was starting every week. And to some players, they don't need that push, but I think it's made her even better, to be honest.
It's also similar to the Hayley Ladd situation at United. We haven't seen Maz Pacheco did play the whole of the League Cup game against Crystal Palace, but she's not seen a single minute in the league. Hasn't been in the Matchday squad the past couple, so I'm not sure if that was something to do with the international break and maybe something picked up in training there. But yeah, It's, I don't know if it's a falling out of favour thing or the two combined.
Yeah, so Connor, if you're still eyeing to get Maz to United,
I'm pushing that agenda. 3 years I've been pushing this. it's going to happen one day, and I'm gonna love it. The only other thing I will say, as a biased Scotland supporting fan such as I am, if you can keep Kirsty Hansen fit, because Scotland have got some very important games in a couple of weeks, that's they're going to need her for. So no injuries to her, please. So if you could just keep her on, keep her matches, minutes limited, just enough. Going to need her against Finland in a few weeks.
Oh, 100%. Well, if we know Kirsty Hansen like we do, it's going to take a lot to get her off the pitch.
Yeah,
she doesn't go down easy, does she?
Yeah, there was that game against Leicester last year where we played at Burton in the freezing cold, and I think she, at the end of the game, she had a boot off and her foot was just bleeding. Like she played the whole game.
Sounds about right. Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Right then, what we'll do then, we'll just have a bit of a chat about the weekend. Connor, how are you feeling about Leicester coming up? That's got to be 3 points, hasn't it?
I mean,
should.
Can you imagine if it isn't?
Should.
Oh, my life. I mean, yeah, it should. Leicester have scored 2 goals all season. We've only conceded 2 all season. Like, I mean, at least with Villa, like, you've played well in most of your games that I've seen so far. Every time I watch Leicester, they've looked pretty poor, to be honest. Albeit they have won. Who did they beat? Was it West Ham? I don't know who they beat this year. They've definitely won a game.
I can't remember. They lost to Crystal Palace, didn't they?
Yeah.
I should know this off the top of my head. Everton. They beat Everton at home. So, and they lost to West Ham last weekend. I knew they'd played West Ham recently. I mean, my life. But I say that we struggled there last year, and it took that El Asoun strike late on to win the game down there. So, to be honest, I don't know if I'm being totally honest, because I've had a few people. If people haven't seen, I've just done a thing with Fancy WSL, and when I sent my team off to them for this new series that they're launching, they were like, only one United player in. I'm like, on a double game week, 'cause obviously United play Chelsea in a week's time as well. I'm like, yeah, because I genuinely don't know what United we're going to see. Like, we're not creating chances. Like, we're not playing well. Like, I just don't know what we're gonna see on Sunday. Saying that, I think we win, but it's not going to change fan. Like, if we win 2-3, 4-0, whatever, I don't think it's going to change fan opinion, because it's not. Unless Mark comes out afterwards and said that's our level. I mean, that would be a worry, wouldn't it? It's all of a sudden where our level's at. But
from a Villa perspective, I'd quite like you to win.
Yeah.
Knock a few in to get the goal difference.
In fact, if you could win this one by 10, that would be great for us.
I mean, I'll take 10 shots at this point, let alone 10 goals. To be honest.
I love it. And Truth's just said there, Leicester have got a lot of injuries. Yeah, because Rantilla's out, who is a massive threat. Well, they've got a couple, haven't they? Out. I can't think off the top of my head now, but yeah, I mean, if it all goes to plan, how we all expect it to, yeah, it should be nice and straightforward. Us, on the other hand, we've got Palace, which again, start of the season, be like, yeah, they've just come up. But annoyingly, they're quite good, this Palace, aren't they? Emma, how are you feeling ahead of Palace this weekend?
Mixed feelings.
That says it all.
I just don't know what Crystal Palace are going to like, because like they've only won one, haven't they? Quite a few tough games, because I think they've played a few of the big teams. So obviously United, Chelsea, but yeah, I just don't know what they're going to come out with. And I mean, with our lineup situation, I don't know. I don't even know who we're going to play. We could probably, who knows? We might play all 3 keepers at this rate. Who knows?
Sophia's quite good with her feet. She could.
Sophia is good, and so Sabs. Remember pre-season, she went out. What was she? Right back in
the distance, in the far corner. Yeah.
It's just when we were all like, "Who's 36?" Or was it 20? Like wherever it was.
Yeah.
Who is that? But yeah, because Kaminsky said earlier, because we haven't heard from Mark Skinner or Robert DePau yet. I'm assuming that'll be tomorrow. She said the table is a bit false for Villa, but there's no better time to play them. They are full of confidence after the draw with United, but we know we are also causing teams problems as well. And she's absolutely right. They've been playing such a good game. And again, Everton aren't in the best place, but Palace managed a good point against them as well, didn't they? So, yeah. Emily, how are you feeling about this weekend?
Yeah. I think last week was a must not lose game.
Yeah.
And I think this is a must win game. We've got to get 3 points.
Got to.
I think the
Sorry, Palace.
good thing is that we've already played them in the League Cup, which, again, that was a pretty. I mean, we had a lot of shots. We should have put more of those away, but again, Crystal Palace held on, and it was only quite late towards the end that we managed to actually get the win. So obviously, it will benefit them as well, having played us. But
yeah,
hopefully, they can learn from that game. Yeah, I'm really curious to see, like I said earlier, because we didn't see Missy Beaucairns at all in the first at all last weekend against United. She didn't even come on as a sub, so I'm wondering if that's going to mean she starts on Sunday, and in which case, if Missy Beaucairns does start, who does he drop, Staniforth or Nobbs? And I think those two are, like I said, the key to our build-up play.
Yeah, hopefully he starts both of them, and then if he does, for whatever reason, wants it to come on. Because we said almost he needs to do it in reverse. He needs to start with the team he finishes with to actually get it done and get it sorted, and then he can, faff about with whoever. Now, I mean, Connor with a quick stats. I mean, how fantastic are you? Aston Villa are unbeaten in 6 previous WSL games against newly promoted opposition. 4 wins and 2 draws. So if we go on stats, we're going to do quite well.
I do think we need to score early. So I think the longer Crystal Palace stay in it, the more belief they're obviously going to get that they can hold on, and the more our heads will be, drop, or it will get panicky and rushed and it will fall apart.
We can't be typical Villa. We just can't. Because of course they've got people like Annabelle Blanchard. They've got everyone able to score goals in their team as well. So yeah, I mean, it's not going to be easy. We know that, but just hopefully we can get something.
This is the game, if any, where we're going to get confidence from goal scoring. This is where we need Rach popping up, Kirsty popping up. We need a couple of goals to get some confidence to really push on for the rest of the season. I think this is going to be our one opportunity. We're at home. We're at Palace. It's a lot more favourable than Liverpool popping up. So, yeah, this is our opportunity, I think.
I will agree with Sophie, though. Katie Stengel's a menace.
Yeah.
When she gets on the end of a good ball, she absolutely is. But yeah, it's going to be exciting. I think it's going to be exciting. I am in the press box for this one, so this should be very good indeed. I'll give you from box. Carla Ward's just followed me on Blue Sky. Hi, Carla. Probably watching. Hope we're doing well. Sorry, got distracted. But yeah, no, it should be a good weekend indeed. And then, of course, the week after we've got League Cup fixtures, but we can talk about that another time. Emily, sorry, were you going to say something?
I was going to say, I'm on the confidence front. I'm hoping, even though sort of like at the start of the season, after pre-season, it seemed like the mood in camp was like up here, and it's gradually gone woo. I'm hoping even though maybe. Even if all of the players aren't completely on board or with Robert DePau's style and manner and everything, which is sort of the vibe we're getting with how things aren't clicking, I'm hoping that within the team, getting a point away against United will have that sort of all in it together mentality that they had at the start of the season.
I hope so.
I'm hoping that'll have come back a bit, yeah.
Yeah, really hope so. Because in training, they all look really happy. They all look like really they're raring to go. And again, we just need to convert that into points, don't we? Emma, have you got anything for commentary corner this week?
I do, and I know I said the other day that I don't have very many spicy ones. There actually are a few here that
Wonderful.
are pretty good.
Connor, welcome to Emma's commentary corner. We've realised, of course, as everyone else, that the WSL commentary can be a bit random, can be a bit strange. So we're here to bring you the highlights from the week. So Emma, take it away whenever you're ready.
These are from, what were we on? Sky. Some of the Sky commentary, and then some of it's from the YouTube when I watched it back. And some of it's
the YouTubes. Yes.
Some of it's my awful misreading, because there's one that Sophie put in the group chat that I completely misread. A rare old day when United don't score. They didn't score, but this was 27 minutes in. Like, give them a time. Not even half an hour in yet. Then there was a really funny moment on, like, just as it came back for the second, where some guy was reading this like mammoth, like this thick, and as they panned to her, they were like, "No book for bedtime during the first half." That's a really odd comment, but wonderful timing. Like, yeah, I just thought that was brilliant. I have no idea what this was about, but certainly someone that man would want to lose. Pow. Why is he just called that man? He has a name. Like,
Honestly.
It's because
That man.
Yeah. You know.
we get a flag with that one. Hey, in that man.
I want it on a scarf, please. That man.
That man in Pac-Man. Sorry, Emma.
Oh, less than, but you know, these are two that you said.
Man's correct for me.
We've got chat.
Oh, I heard that. Yeah.
And then Patsy is usually, but apparently she wasn't this time. The quote was, "Well, Villa knew what they were getting after having her on a loan spell a few times from Arsenal." This guy was clearly on. We need so many words to say ex-Arsenal defender Anna Patten. Then we've got close, but no. And then I'm sure some of these commentators are like, I don't really know. I think they've got no brain cells. I can say this. After all of the, I think there was like 6 changes, because I think it was 2 triple changes or just going on. And they've gone, so both managers are making. Nah, I thought we were just seeing these people running across the field for no reason. They were just feeling a bit like, I'm going to go for a run. What?
It's like, wait, you can do that in football? What is this?
Yeah, like, baffling. But that's what I got. Oh, no. Oh, I missed the good one. In the group chat, Sophie was talking about Toon, Megan, no.
Jordan Nobbs, Megan
Someone,
Toon.
Megan, that's the one. Jordan Nobbs, Megan too. Thought it said Jordan Nobbs messaged him, but they're on the pitch. Why are they messaging each other? So that's just a bit of me. And if you didn't know me, now you do, is how I'm going to say that.
Well, that brings us to the end of Commentary Corner. And hey, where have we all gone? What is this? There we go. Perfect. I nearly made us all disappear. But yeah, it wasn't as good as Adrian and Leon can't get the ball to sit down. But yeah. But it's such, I mean, it's hilarious when they say things wrong like that. But sometimes you're like, how did that even come out of your mouth? What is going on in that head? However, I do think the slogan of the podcast should now be "That man's Claret and Blue Army."
I'm singing that on Sunday.
I think you should. I'm gonna like redo me scarf and just have "That man's Claret and Blue Army." That's it. Connor, apparently you need this on your TikTok lives. That's what needs to happen.
I was going to say, this is some high level stuff. This gonna have to upgrade us over here.
And you know what? It's actually cheaper than StreamYard. So there you go.
Noted.
Little tip for you. But yeah, no, it's good. Hey, there's so many features. Now, is there any last things anyone wants to mention before we wrap up? Because we have gone through a lot. Okay. Emily's thinking about it.
I've got one.
So
So if you mentioned it in the chat, just shout out Anna Patton for getting player of the match, because again, really solid at the back.
Yes.
Her first ever one, apparently.
That's it. A first ever one? No.
Apparently.
Honestly, Patsy is incredible. Absolutely.
Even
I'm missing the
without her
Batman
mask.
look, but
Yeah.
I miss her mask.
Yeah.
Her maraudering runs down the wings. But yeah, hopefully. I mean, can she wear a cape? Is that legal on the pitch? I think, or like a mini one, like a little. Give her those superpowers.
might end up as a bib.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
If someone pulls it, no, it wouldn't end well, would it? No. We'll leave that. we'll keep the magic in the air then. So yeah, Connor, thank you so much for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure. If people want to find more of you, where can they find you?
No, thank you for having me on. It's been very good. I've enjoyed this. My Twitter @ is there. You can go and see. My latest tweet is actually with Fancy WSL, for those of you who play that. They're doing a new series, Creators versus Scouts, and so I'm the first one. See if I'm any good at this. But I have got a Villa player in my team for this week. I
Who have you
fought
got?
against the Scout, Rachel Daly. So because I feel like Villa are going to finally click this weekend and get a couple of goals. So that's my reason as to why I've chosen her anyway. And yeah, only one United player has made my team, and we've got a double game week. So yeah, I think that shows my thoughts around United right now. And I've got 3 Chelsea as well, and they play us. I think that's kind of leaning you more towards where I am. But yeah, my Twitter @ there, and then All for United WFC is obviously the main brand, I guess, as well. And all for women's football as well, if you like just a wider women's football thing. I know, Freya, you've been on that a couple of times as well.
You can't get rid of me, Connor, to be honest. I'm always about.
I know you won't. I've been on here with you now. You've been on All for United WFC, and you've been on All for Women's Football. There you go, done the 4 rounds.
We just keep swapping podcasts. It's great. We're just, we'll have another one. Yeah, and we'll keep going. But no, I absolutely love it. So thank you very much. And I've even given us a new graphic that will load very momentarily. Bear with. Hey, there we go. So let's bring us back. Where's all our faces gone? There we go. Perfect. So remember that part of the Pride is in conjunction with, I don't know why we're now like this, but hey, we'll take it. In conjunction with the Hull 115 Yards and the Aston Villa Women Fan Club as well. Now, on TikTok, we thought to keep it nice and simple. Anything that will be posted from here will go onto the Hull 115 Yards. And the AVW_fan club will be all of our vlogs and all of our match days and everything like that. So do give us a follow if you're on TikTok. On Instagram, we are part of the Pride Pod or the Hull 115 Yards or the Aston Villa Women Fan Club. And on Twitter, we are part Pride Pod until we move over to Blue Sky, which everyone seems to be migrating over to as well. So give us a like, follow, share, subscribe, whatever you feel like doing. We would really, really appreciate it.
Freya, I've thought of another thing, just quick.
Of course you have. Okay.
Score predictions.
Score predictions.
Oh,
Hey,
yeah.
that's why I keep you on the pod. Yes, good. Okay, so right, go for it. Emily, what are you thinking?
2-0 Villa.
I was going to say 2-0 Villa. Okay, Emma, what are you thinking?
I'm having that.
Ooh.
2.5-0. There we go.
2.5 mil. Perfect. Becky, what are you feeling?
Well, it seems that everybody else has stolen my scores. I was going to go with the League Cup score of 2-0. But do you know what? 4-1.
4-1.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, I like it. I might go 3-2.
Ooh.
Or maybe a 3-1. Oh, I'm undecided. Maybe I'll go a 3-1. I'll be easier on Sabs. Gary's saying 4-1 Villa with that one. Connor, any score predictions for any match you like?
Villa are going to win 3-1.
3-1. Yeah.
Oh my life. United 1-0. I don't think we. Yeah, 1-0. We'll probably win 4, and then some fans will twist again and be like, "Yeah, we're going to have a good season." Then we're going to get beat like 7 by Chelsea, and it'll be like, right, back down to reality. So I don't know. I think 1-0 United. To be honest, I think we'll win Sunday. I'm confident we'll win, but
yeah, win and get it done, and that's all you can ask for at the minute. Just keep going and keep doing it. Absolutely. Right. Perfect. Right. We will leave that there then. So thank you so much to everyone who's been in the chat. It's been incredible tonight. Everyone who's watching. And remember, the audio version will be on Spotify in the next few days as well. So thank you very much.